and welcome to The Good Life with me, Eileen. We are here on The Good Life Friday, and we're here to open your mind. Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to The Good Life with me, Eileen. We are here on The Good Life Friday, and I'm here to open your mind. Y'all know on The Good Life Friday, I like to do something soul-inspiring. I like to do something that, touches you, hopefully that can, have that little spark of goodness that you can roll into your weekend. And we're going to have a long weekend because it is Labor Day weekend. So I hope everyone enjoys their 4-day weekend because I know I will too. We will not be here on Monday. Maybe I'll do a little bit on. Make sure y'all follow me on Facebook Live. I am live now, so if you want to know and see what goes on the studio, make sure you do that. And you can follow us on all of our social media platforms as well. And if you would like to join The Good Life, if your business would like to be a part of The Good Life too, make sure you give us a call at 504-400-7127. That is 504-400-7127. I have great partnerships. And I really would love to partner with you as well. So open your mind to living differently in the world, and let's do it together right here on The Good Life. So, feeling the fear. I know we've been talking about, with the anniversary of Katrina, we've been talking about, remembering but not reliving and not rehashing those fears. And there's so many times in life. Good morning, or I'm talking to Roy on Facebook. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you, Jared, for joining as well. There's so many times where you feel like you can't go forward. You feel like you're just stuck. You feel like, and a lot of people have felt that way with Katrina. So I wanted to kind of wrap up this week with a little bit of feel good and kind of remind us what life is all about, because there's kind of like two things. It's either fear or love when you break it down. It all kind of comes down to those things. So which way are you going to live your life? What is going to define you? We want to be able to let go, but we want to be able to, hold on to the lessons, but let go of everything else. There are two basic motivating forces, as I said, fear and love. And when we're afraid, we pull back from life. When we're in love, we're open to all those things that offer passion. Think about it. When you got into that new relationship, when you had that new job, life was great. You were on top of the world. You're skipping down the street. Everything's good. You're feeling good. But as soon as you had that first little setback or that heartbreak, you just let it all come crashing down, or that heaviness came and sat down on you. And then it's still there. It's still there. So what is holding it there? And so many of us like to look back on our lives and live in that and relive those fearful moments of, and I do it myself, which is probably half the reason why I'm having this show today, because I was doing it myself. So I just want to be, mindful of that and be really, present when we're in our lives and realize, what? It's not that bad. It really isn't that bad. Open your mind that it's really not that bad. And fear is actually an illusion. I know it seems real. I know it feels like you can't breathe, like you have a brick on your chest, maybe a boulder. You just can't move and you're just stuck and you're frozen. But really, there are so many times in your lives that you've gotten through it. I'm going to remind you of those times that you have gotten through it in your life. And if you can get through those things, you can definitely get through the rest. And you can see it to the other side, to the side of love, because that's what we want to do. We want to have a return to love, compassion, tolerance, and understanding. Because when we can do that in our lives for others, and we can do it for ourselves, that's what the good life is. That's what it's all about. So I want to open your mind this morning, and I want to remind you of the times that fearful times that you will inevitably, have to conquer. And some of these you already have. So I want to remind you how powerful you are and how strong you are and how much sometimes we don't give ourselves enough credit. Because generally, that's how we get stuck. You may have accomplished, all of these degrees. You may have accomplished raising children. You may have accomplished being able to touch one person and maybe help one person. But you can't see it for what it is. but you have absolutely changed that one person's life. And for me, that's really enough. If you can change one person's life or you can help one person, what a job you have done on this earth. So open your mind. A quote by Louise Edrich is, life will break you. Nobody can protect you from that. And when it happens, that you are broken or you are betrayed or you are left or you are hurt or that death brushes near, let yourself sit by an apple tree and listen to the apples falling all around you in heaps, wasting their sweetness. Tell yourself you tasted as many as you could. Think about that. You're broken. Something happened. Someone passed away. You were betrayed. Everybody can raise their hand. Somebody has betrayed you at some point in your life. And you're like, they wronged me. Everybody has felt like that. Somebody has left you. You've had a brush of death. And you sit there and you're moping and you're kind of like stuck. And you have, instead of picking the apple, they're all falling around you. All these opportunities are just falling all around you. And you're hearing them fall. And you're wondering why people are getting ahead. Well, they're picking their apples. You're letting yours fall by the wayside, and you're wasting their sweetness. So I want you to pick your apples today. I want you to open your mind to picking your apples and not let them fall around you. To experience the full spectrum of life, to taste all the apples, we have to face our fears. Fear is an emotion that we are all familiar with. For some of us, it's a constant companion creeping around every corner. While it can save us from entering a dangerous situation on one hand, we have to recognize the difference between, that fight or flight and that real just anxiety that's sitting on you. It can prevent us from pursuing a life-changing opportunity. It can keep us from applying for that dream job or boarding a plane. I know people who are, afraid of flying, but, their destiny might be on the opposite end of that airplane ride. You never know. And it's keeping you, under a spell. It may keep you from falling in love again. You may have been brokenhearted. You may have gone through a terrible divorce. You may have lost, one of the loves of your lives. But who's to say that you can't experience love again? We bind ourselves in this thought process of fear and we relive it ourselves over and over again. And I know Henry was here on Monday, and that's what he said. And so I'm going to repeat that and give him credit for it. You can remember, but don't relive it. Don't get stuck in that bindful, that train of thought of fear. We want to break out of that. We want to pick our apples today. We're not going to let them fall by the wayside anymore. We're going to pick our own apples, and we are going to live the good life. Because one thing is for certain, the more power we give the fear, the more it controls us. It starts calling the shots and robbing us of our peace. When we focus, and I know y'all have heard this, but what you focus on grows. You basically start manifesting the fear. You're like, oh, I don't want this to happen. I don't want this to happen. And you think about it all day long, and what happens? That thing happens, and you're like, I knew it. But you did it to yourself. And what's the sad part is you didn't even realize that you did it to yourself. And when you start opening your mind, you're like, wait, I can control this. That's when you grow. That's when we break out the shackles. You're like, wait, I control this. Because so many times we think we don't have control, but you have absolutely more control than you think. There's a famous quote, and I don't know who said it because it's been said so many times, but if we knew how powerful our thoughts are, we would not think another negative thought ever. If you absolutely fully understood the power of your thoughts, you wouldn't think a negative thought ever. But unfortunately, we can't always control them, but we can turn them around. And we can, I kind of want to say attack the negative thoughts as soon as they appear. As soon as I think something sideways, I check myself, like immediately. And I start saying it like 3 and 4 times the opposite of where that is. Oh, you can't do that. I absolutely can. And here are the reasons why I can. I've been prepared for it. I've studied for it. I've learned from this past mistake. So I know how to avoid these pitfalls. So I absolutely can do it. So we want to pick our apples today, and we want to remind ourselves that we can do it. Thank you all on Facebook. I appreciate your support. Yes, I can do it. I never thought I could do radio. I remember my first show. Speaking of fear, my first show. Oh goodness. It was a half-an-hour show. It was called Community Bulletin Board. Chris, our program director, was like, Eileen, you can do this. I was like, I had my little questions down. I was like, okay, yeah. That first show, and Lee is on the other side watching me. That first show, I had about maybe 20 questions written down that I could ask the person. After that, 20 questions went in, like, not kidding, like 7 minutes. And I was like, I have another 23 minutes on this show. I have no break. I have no commercial. What am I going to do? Well, you know what? I figured it out, and I lived to see another day, and I'm almost on the radio for 2 years now. So it can't be that bad. I have lived through a fear. And, you know, that may seem simple, but I want y'all to come sit on the other side of this mic and realize that you can have no dead air. You don't want to make a mistake. And I probably think that's actually when the show got good, when I stopped caring about making a mistake. When I realized, you know what, I'm human just like everybody else. And being transparent, it makes me, in my opinion, a better person. And showing your vulnerability is what creates a more loving environment. I don't want to be friends with anybody who thinks they're perfect, because I know I'm not perfect. And if you think you're perfect and you're living in that illusion, then baby, you need to do a little work. And if you take that personally, that's even more work that you need to do right now. So we want to open your mind to living differently in the world. We want to face our fears today. Facing our fears is the quickest way to squelch them. So that's exactly what we want to do. And sometimes in life, what we fear the most happens. Like I just said, sometimes we manifest it for ourselves, but sometimes it's just going to happen. You know, you are going to lose someone in your life. Someone's going to die. We're all going to die. I know that's a fear that people have. You know, they get very attached to people, and we are, because we love them dearly, and, you know, they're ours. They shouldn't go anywhere. But we all have to go through this process of life. And so at some point we have to recognize that it's a fear, but it's okay, that we're going to live on the other side of it. We will, I promise. Regardless of whether we want to face these fears, we have to. We absolutely have to. So I have a list. Y'all know I like my list on Friday. I really do. I have a list of fears that you will inevitably have to face, and some that you likely already have. And I'm going to explain to you, or give you little tidbits as to how, instead of looking at them as a fear, kind of look at them as a lesson, where it is something that now you are more equipped, and now you have become more fearless. You have more courage. You are more brave to face the world, and to actually walk into your passion and your purpose. Because so many times these fears are what's holding us back. So we want to break through these. And as the quote I said this morning, we don't want those apples to fall around us anymore. You know, life is going to break us. Nobody can protect us from that. There's some things that we just have to do by ourselves. We just have to do them by ourselves. So the first one, I kind of alluded to it already, and this is the one that we all have to do, and it's probably one of the scariest. And I can absolutely say I am probably one of the most blessed people on this earth, because I still have my parents. And I am so blessed that I do, and I am so blessed that they are very health conscious, and they still work out. My mother does what is that? That new circuit training. My mother's, I don't tell her age, but she's over 70, and she's still doing, you know, what is that called? Anyway, one of you listeners, Facebook Live, give me that. Y'all know that anyway, she's still doing that type of stuff. They watch their sugar and their salt and all that other stuff and their sodium, but they do it because they want to live a longer life, and they do it partially because of their children and their grandchildren. They want to do it for us. So what are we doing? Because we're going to have to live through that fear of losing someone, and it will feel as though your world is crashing down upon you. Speaking of it, my aunt, who was like the matriarch of our family, Cynthia George, died a couple years ago, and that was probably one of my biggest, you know, losses. And it was a huge family loss. All of the parties were by her house. All of, you know, everything kind of centered around her house. And she was like, so we're like, where are we, you know, what is going to happen? And I remember I was fearful even to go to the hospital. I didn't, because I was like, oh, she's going to come home. Like, what are you talking about? She's not sick. She's going to come home. But I had to face the fear, and I had to go to the hospital. And when, you know, I got there, I was so sad that I hadn't gone earlier. But I spent the rest of her days in that hospital, and we were there in the room when she passed, and we said our prayers. And I am so grateful for that time. But I'm saying, don't let the fear of losing someone hold you back. And don't let that fear make you miss an opportunity because you don't want to live with any regrets. And I don't know what your situation is, you know, and I can't speak to it because, you know, I told you I'm blessed in so many ways. But, you know, when you lose someone who means the world to you, you never really get over that loss. But this is also good news because they live forever in your heart. And I know words are easy to say, but they really, really do. So when you find that sense of that sense of connection with them, hold on to it, because that's what the good life is all about. So we're going to take a quick break. I know I have lots of other little life idiosyncrasies I want to say, but they're really sometimes the biggest fears that we want to walk through so you can open your mind. I'll tell you a couple. The next one will be, sometimes you feel utterly and completely alone, but sometimes that's a time when you really grow. So open your mind. We'll talk about that when we get right back.
Are you looking for a better way to get fit? Bored with the same old routines? Looking for results or a way to instill discipline in the kids? Tiger Rock Martial Arts is the answer with Taekwondo, kickboxing, and self-defense classes. Tiger Rock diversifies your training in ways that allows individuals of all ages and fitness levels to feel like a champion. Join Tiger Rock today. TigerRockNola.com or 504-455-9694. That's 504-455-9694 with a 3-class starter pack starting for only $38, which includes your training uniform. Learn, grow, and succeed with Tiger Rock's 3 convenient locations: Old Metairie, West Bank, and Clearview. There's no better time to start gaining strength, skills, and protection for life than now. 504-455-9694. 504-455-9694. See you on the mat.
Are you satisfied with your current financial position? My name is Kenneth Barnes, President and CEO of KB Enterprises, where we specialize in putting together step-by-step financial action steps for your plan for today and for tomorrow. Whether you're 50 to 85 and need assistance with your final expenses, we have coverage options for every situation. Let us put life back into your finances. Call us today at 504-914-1202. That's 504-914-1202.
Small businesses play an important role in society, and L&R Security is no different. L&R Security delivers safety and comfort to our neighborhoods, events, apartment communities, conventions, work sites, festivals, and your business. L&R Security can be reached at 504-943-3191 to ensure the safety of your employees, customers, family, friends, and you. L&R Security has made its mark in the security arena for over 37 years and will faithfully continue that tradition. Call today for your personalized consultation to ensure your security needs are met. L&R Security differentiates itself by creating partnerships with our clients and guards. We are now hiring armed and unarmed guard professionals, retired military, sheriffs, and PD to grow with us and impact our community. Be a part of the change with L&R Security. Call us now at 504-943-3191. 504-943-3191.
Carter Business Development delivers. For businesses to compete, they must have access. Let CBD be your bridge for business development services, radio advertising, social media marketing, brand ambassador, outreach, and access. Contact Carter Business Development at 504-400-7127 or email Eileen@tglradioshow.com. Carter Business Development creates unfolding opportunities. CBD connects the dots from where you are to where you want to be. Join the good life now with Carter Business Development, 504-400-7127, 504-400-7127. As quoted, a man who stops advertising to save money is like a man who stops a clock to save time. Let CBD save you time and give you access. Call 504-400-7127, 504-400-7127. Take the steps required for access so you can live the good life too with Carter Business Development. That's 504-400-7127.
Hi, I'm Henry Jolly, your relationship expert and nationally certified counselor. Everyone at some point in their life goes through struggles. I am a firm believer that people have the ability to will themselves into good situations, but sometimes they may need some assistance. Being a loving husband, father, and successful businessman while having a passion for the counseling profession has allowed me to gain experience with a variety of these struggles. Let's work together to achieve your individual, family, or marital potential. Come and see me at the New Orleans Growth Center, located at 3712 MacArthur Boulevard on the West Bank in Suite 209. You can reach me at 504-259-8671 or by email, which is henry.jolly@yahoo.com. Thanks for your time, and I'm looking forward to working with you soon.
Talk Thursday on the Good Life Radio Show is brought to you by the Downtown Development District. 40 years ago, the DDD was created to foster economic development in the heart of the Crescent City. Well, today, that vision is a real success, and downtown NOLA is thriving. Tune in Thursdays to the Good Life Radio Show at 11 a.m. to connect with shops, businesses, and nationally recognized restaurants in downtown to be a part of what's happening in your city that you call home. Visit Downtown NOLA today. It's the Good Life.
WBOK, real talk for real times. Good night, yeah. Good night, yeah. Good night.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome back to The Good Life with me, Eileen. We are here on The Good Life Friday, and we're here to open your mind. We are living the good life right here on WBOK 1230 AM. Make sure you turn your dials to WBOK 1230 AM every weekday at 11 a.m. right here on the Good Life Radio Show. We offer soul-inspiring conversation to open your mind to living differently in the world. And today we're talking about, breaking through those fears so we all can live the good life. We're talking about, kind of congratulating yourself for living through a lot of life's ups and downs. So many times we only remember the downs, but we don't give ourselves enough credit for the ups, and we don't give ourselves enough credit for, fighting through and seeing things to the end, and we don't tend to remember those as much. I don't know why, but we tend to always focus on the negative. Let's shift our focus a little bit. Yes, we're going to learn our lesson from the negative, but let's shift to the positive, and let's focus on that, because that's what we want more of. What you focus on increases. So I'm going to focus on the positive because I want more of that in my life. So I hope you do too, and that's what we're going to do today. We're going to take these fears and we're going to shift them into positives, because that's what the good life is. So one of those things is, we talked about before the break, was sometimes you're losing someone and yet you can't live without. We all have to go through the process of death. So we want to just shift how we think about them and, celebrate their lives instead of really focusing on the loss. Let's focus on, their new life. And so next, which is something that and these are kind of something we all have to do inevitably. And this one is probably one of the hardest. I know it was very difficult for me sometime, and I'm sure I'm going to have to do it again, and I'm sure you're going to have to do it at some point. So let's talk about it. You will be utterly and completely alone at some point in your life. Yep, pin drop. You will be utterly and completely alone at some point in your life. Think about it. For the first part of our lives, most of us are seduced by the idea that we are not alone, because there is always someone around us. We're children. There's someone always around us, taking care of us, taking care of our needs. So we're kind of seduced by this fact that this is how life is. We don't know any better. We're always going to be taken care of. There's always going to be somebody when I don't feel good to talk to me, to make me feel better, to give me some medicine, whatever it is. I'm always going to be taken care of. But at some point in your life, it usually happens like in your 20s and 30s. Sometimes for some of us it happens in our teens. Some of us are just blessed to have, a tighter family unit, but everybody doesn't live that way. Some people have been on their own since they were teenagers. It's going to happen. And unlike childhood, when everyone appears to be revolving around us, adulthood proves that everyone is now looking out for their own best interest. So what do? And you have to do the same. And it's kind of like culture shock sometimes, and sometimes it happens in college, sometimes it happens later. You never know, because still in college, you still always have people around you and your parents are still helping you. But it's like when you're out on your own, your parents are like, see you later, out the nest. You're like, number one, I believe we should start preparing our children for these times in their lives earlier. We have to let our children learn their lessons, and we have to let them be able to mold their own lessons for themselves. They can make a mistake. It's not going to kill them. As long as it's not, they're not going to burn or end up in the hospital. They need to make a mistake. they need to be able to grow through a fear and see themselves to the other side. That's how they become mature adults. And if we never give them that ability, it'll never happen. And how many of us, may have had one end of the spectrum or the other, where you've had to do it all yourself from day one? That may be some people's experiences. Or you've been taken care of your entire life, and then now it's like culture shock, or you're somewhere in between. We want to be able to rest in the sense of being alone, and being alone doesn't mean it's the end of the world. There's so many of us, with being alone, and sometimes it's, when you leave a relationship. So how many people people who can't just be alone? And I want to say it's the craziest thing, because I think we've all gone through it, like, I don't have a boyfriend anymore. I don't have a girlfriend. There's no significant other. There's no one for me to go. It's okay. You're going to live. And that is the time where you need to grow and see who you are and learn the lesson of the past relationship so that you can have a better relationship, because you're going to attract the same type of person unless you start opening your mind. If you want something different, you have to do something different. So when you're alone, that is the time to grow. That is the time to do something you've never done. That is the time to go to the movies by yourself. Go to the restaurant by yourself. Go take a trip by yourself. Do something that you never thought you could do. Alone time can be one of the greatest times of your life. And here's the funny part. 9 times out of 10, you will probably get into a relationship again. So why not enjoy the time being alone before you hop back in that relationship? Why not enjoy that time? Because y'all know when you get in a relationship, like, oh, they're always around me. I got to do this. I got to cook for them. I got to feed them. Y'all know y'all say that in your heads. Well, appreciate the time alone. When you have your kids, or, you're like, oh, I wish I had some alone time. Well, you did before you met them. You just didn't enjoy the time you had alone. So start taking advantage of it. That's how I thought about it. I was like, I'm going to take advantage of this time, because I know I'm not going to be alone forever. So I'm going to take advantage of this time, because I may never have it again in life. So if we can just twist it like that, and we can see it from a different perspective, what a different life it can be. Instead of being like, oh, woe is me, I'm alone. Oh, great. I can read this book that I've been dying to read for the past 3 years, and I just have never gotten to it. Oh, you know what? I can go take this trip, and you know what? I don't have to worry about anybody else. I can pay for it all by myself, because I don't have to worry about, children yet, or whatever it may be. Or you know what? I have this friend from college. I've always wanted to go to New York, and I haven't been. I'm going to go up there, and I'm going to be a tourist. Whatever it may be, do something and appreciate your alone time, because you probably won't always have it. And that is the time where you grow. That's the time that you learn who you are. So take that time and embrace it. Ooh, now this is not a fun one, but it's something that we will all probably have to live through. Being betrayed by someone close to you. Have you been betrayed? I've been betrayed. I'm going to raise my hand. I don't know how many fingers I can raise for it, but I've been betrayed multiple times, and I know everyone out there has. And if you haven't, I'm sorry to say you probably will. And if you live your life having never been betrayed by someone, congratulations to you. Slide, you are safe. I don't know how you did it, but congratulations. Because people will disappoint you, and guess what? You are going to disappoint someone else in your life. Everyone suffers at least one bad betrayal in their lifetime. It's part of what unites us. But the trick is to not let that experience destroy our trust in people. We can't let them take that from us. People will always be our greatest assets and our greatest liabilities. The great challenge is to keep caring for them no matter what. And, Jesus talked about this, love thy neighbor, turn the other cheek. How hard is that? And when someone betrays you, how many of us put up that wall? Sometimes it happens on the job. Somebody betrays you and they do something, you put up this wall. I'm not helping anybody in this office ever again. I tried and I helped her, and this is what happened to me. I'm never going to help anybody else. Well, you just set yourself up for the okie doke, because now you're actually harming yourself, because it may be the connection between you and the person on the other side of the office that you actually haven't done that much with, that may bring you to the next level in life, that may bring you your increase, that may bring you your promotion. But because you put up that wall, it's never going to happen, because you don't trust anybody anymore. And you don't trust anybody because of your own fears. It's not that person's fault you're not doing it. It's yours. It's a fear that you now have that you're going to close yourself into. But what happens if you break down those walls? You could walk into your purpose. You could walk into your passion. You could walk into your destiny. You never know. And who wants to live with regret? I know I don't. So it's going to happen. Someone is going to betray you. You're going to betray someone else. And it may just be an accident. And it may have just been an accident on their part. But we have to learn to be a little bit more forgiving in our life, because bitterness is going to eat away at your soul. It will. Your bitterness will eat away at your soul. And the other person is going about their life, and that poison is literally eating you up. And you are not living the good life. So open your mind. Let it go. You're going to be betrayed. Forgive as best you can. And forgiveness isn't going to happen in one day, so don't think it's like, I'm going to do this. And no, forgiveness is a process. But you have to put that one foot forward and be like, I forgive you. And you don't even have to tell the person. You really, really don't. You have to do it for yourself. So open your mind, because that's what the good life is all about. Number 4, and I don't want to say this, but it kind of is the truth. Giving up on something that you really wanted because you're fearful. When we were young, the world is our playground and the sky is the limit. We come out of college or our certification or high school or graduate program. We got our MBA, and we think that the world is going to change. We're going to get married, have kids, and, we're going to make it happen. But in the middle, we discover that is absolutely harder than we thought it was. How many people are raising their hands right now? Like, it is so much harder than I thought it was. Like, what you had in your head and that imaginary perfect life doesn't exist. We thought, our parents, our grandparents, or whomever that you saw growing up, they never fought in front of you. You thought everything was perfect. Marriage is perfect. And you're like, wait, what? I actually have to work at this. I have to do something. I have to put in effort. That's not what I signed up for. That's not what I thought. So you're giving up on the dream of perfection. You have to let it go, because it really isn't what it seems to be. For most of us, that means our dreams have to change too. And it can be one of the hardest and scariest things in the world to give up on that dream of perfection. Though perhaps we should reframe this notion as not giving up something, but of letting it go. Letting go of that idea that you held for your whole life, that you would be at a certain point in time, or embrace it with gratitude for lessons learned. How many times are we hard on ourselves because I thought I would have accomplished something at this point in my life. I had my life planned out. It was going to be this, 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 and this, and it just didn't happen that way. You know what? It's okay. If it was supposed to happen that way, it would have. But obviously it wasn't. There's something you've grown through. There's something you learned. There's something that has changed you and prepared you to be where you are and to face your future. And so we want to kind of give up on those dreams of perfection, because there's nobody perfect. I mean, if you know them, please let me know. But I don't know anybody who's perfect. I don't know anybody who's had a perfect life. And if they claim to have a perfect life, then you already know that they're feeding you a load of nonsense. So let the dream of perfection go and open your mind. Ooh, my next point, and this is, the Good Life Friday, and we're talking about fears that we've had, and we're just trying to, twist those fears a little bit so we can get the lesson out of them, so we can learn, so we can grow from them, because fear is fear is an illusion. So if we can take that fear that we had and we can turn it into a positive, what a different life we can have for ourselves and for our children. Because if we can do this, and we can teach our children how to have a different perspective, and we can teach our children, how to look at the positive or find the silver lining, what a different life they'll have. And if they can start this at, a young age, imagine the things that they can accomplish. And if they're teaching their children from a young age, then they're teaching their children from birth. And you are creating an entirely different generation. We are creating an entirely different community if we change our perspective. If you stay in the woe is me, and you stay in the negativity, and you sit and you muddle in it, you are never going to grow. You are absolutely never going to grow. We need to open our minds, change our thoughts. There's nothing worse than being stuck in a thought pattern your entire life to find out in your last years that you were wrong. Ugh. Who wants to do that? We never want to walk in someone else's shoes. We never want to, maybe see their point of view. But maybe seeing their point of view could change your life. We're not always right. I say this all the time. 5 + 4 = 9, but so does 6 + 3. There is more than one way to get to an end point. And just because someone doesn't see it your way doesn't mean that it's not right. It may be right for them. And so many times we're fearful of just seeing it from a different point of view that we confine ourselves and we really seclude ourselves and we really break off relationships that actually could have been very beneficial to us because they don't want to deal with us. Who wants to deal with someone who's negative all the time? I know I don't. And if y'all listen to this show all the time, I know y'all know I say I am allergic to negative people. Like, I don't feel good. I feel it in my spirit. I'm like, you've got to get away. I don't feel good. I know some of you out there listening have the same issues. It's like your intuition. It's like your gut. So we are going to take a quick break, and we are going to get back to, turning these fears into positives. When we come back, we're going to talk about losing total control. I know last week we talked about control, but we're going to switch it. We're going to turn it up. We're going to flip the script. Open your mind. We'll be right back.
Small businesses play an important role in society, and L&R Security is no different. L&R Security delivers safety and comfort to our neighborhoods, events, apartment communities, conventions, work sites, festivals, and your business. L&R Security can be reached at 504-943-3191 to ensure the safety of your employees, customers, family, friends, and you. L&R Security has made its mark in the security arena for over 37 years and will faithfully continue that tradition. Call today for your personalized consultation to ensure your security needs are met. L&R Security differentiates itself by creating partnerships with our clients and guards. We are now hiring armed and unarmed guard professionals, retired military, sheriffs, and PD to grow with us and impact our community. Be a part of the change with L&R Security. Call us now at 504-943-3191. 504-943-3191. Gumbo Talk Thursday on the Good Life Radio Show is brought to you by the Downtown Development District. 40 years ago, the DDD was created to foster economic development in the heart of the Crescent City. Well, today, that vision is a real success, and downtown NOLA is thriving. Tune in Thursdays to the Good Life Radio Show at 11 a.m. to connect with shops, businesses, and nationally recognized restaurants in downtown to be a part of what's happening in your city that you call home. Visit Downtown NOLA today. It's the Good Life.
Are you satisfied with your current financial position? My name is Kenneth Barnes, President and CEO of KB Enterprises, where we specialize in putting together step-by-step financial action steps for your plan for today and for tomorrow. Whether you're 50 to 85 and need assistance with your final expenses, we have coverage options for every situation. Let us put life back into your finances. Call us today at 504-914-1202. That's 504-914-1202.
Are you looking for a better way to get fit? Bored with the same old routines? Looking for results or a way to instill discipline in the kids? Tiger Rock Martial Arts is the answer with Taekwondo, kickboxing, and self-defense classes. Tiger Rock diversifies your training in ways that allows individuals of all ages and fitness levels to feel like a champion. Join Tiger Rock today. TigerRockNOLA.com or 504-455-9694. That's 504-455-9694 with a 3-class starter pack starting for only $38, which includes your training uniform. Learn, grow, and succeed with Tiger Rock's 3 convenient locations: Old Metairie, West Bank, and Clearview. There's no better time to start gaining strength, skills, and protection for life than now. 504-455-9694. 504-455-9694. See you on the mat.
Carter Business Development delivers. For businesses to compete, they must have access. Let CBD be your bridge for business development services, radio advertising, social media marketing, brand ambassador, outreach, and access. Contact Carter Business Development at 504-400-7127 or email Eileen@tglradioshow.com. Carter Business Development creates unfolding opportunities. CBD connects the dots from where you are to where you want to be. Join the good life now with Carter Business Development, 504-400-7127, 504-400-7127. As quoted, a man who stops advertising to save money is like a man who stops a clock to save time. Let CBD save you time and give you access. Call 504-400-7127, 504-400-7127. Take the steps required for access so you can live the good life too.
with Carter Business Development. That's 504-400-7127.
Hi, I'm Henry Jolly, your relationship expert and nationally certified counselor. Everyone at some point in their life goes through struggles. I am a firm believer that people have the ability to will themselves into good situations, but sometimes they may need some assistance. Being a loving husband, father, and successful businessman while having a passion for the counseling profession has allowed me to gain experience with a variety of these struggles. Let's work together to achieve your individual, family, or marital potential. Come and see me at the New Orleans Growth Center, located at 3712 MacArthur Boulevard on the West Bank in Suite 209. You can reach me at 504-259-8671 or by email, which is henry.jolly@yahoo.com. Thanks for your time, and I'm looking forward to working with you soon.
WBOK, real talk for real times. Good night, yeah. Good night, yeah. Good night.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome back to The Good Life with me, Eileen. We are here on The Good Life Friday, and we're here to open your mind. We are absolutely living the good life right here on the Good Life Radio Show. We are opening minds to living differently in the world. And if you were watching me on Facebook Live, I just gave a testimony that I was not planning to give. And I was like, well, I'm going to give the short version on the air. Today we are talking about, turning those fears into positives. So many of us, have these fears that if this happens, I don't know what I'm going to do. But inevitably, we're all going to have to face certain fears. And one of them we were discussing before the break was being utterly and completely alone. So during the Facebook Live, I don't know how this came out, but it did come out of my mouth. I gave an example of, when I totally felt alone and kind of having to feel that fear and do it anyway. So for me, honest moment, vulnerability, transparency on the radio. It was when I had gone through my divorce, and it was the first time, or the first couple times, I had to share custody with my son. Of my son, so, got impacted, and he left, and I'm sitting in the house like, what do I do with myself? Like, my entire life was revolving around family, and then I'm now divorced, and my entire life had revolved around taking care of my son, and he's not there. What do I do with myself? I literally sat in the living room, and I didn't turn on the TV, and I was just like, At that moment, I didn't even know what made me happy anymore. I didn't even know what to do. I had no clue. I was like, I really was lost in confusion and totally upside down. But how you turn that around is, I can do something that I never thought I had time to do. I'm taking care of this. At that point, he was 3. I'm taking care of this 3-year-old, and I can't go sit down with my single friends. I can't spend time with them anymore. I can't, go out to Portugal and have a burger and a hamburger and the red snapper. I can't do those things. Okay, well, now I can. So I started looking at it as an advantage. You know what? I'm going to do something for myself. And I was playing with the guys on Facebook Live. I said, go get a pedicure. It's something you haven't done, I promise it's better than you think it is, or, go get a massage. But, that was a time for me that being alone was like, ugh. But what it taught me was I had totally and utterly lost who I was because I had given it all to my family. And I didn't even know what made me happy anymore. I didn't even know what I liked to do anymore. So I had to relearn who I was at that point in my life. And I will say I'm absolutely blessed that at this point in my life, I know what makes me happy. I know, and I enjoy being alone. I'm like, when my son leaves, I read a book. Sometimes we sit there and read books together. I like reading. I'm a nerd. Join the club. Hopefully you like to read too, because that's where they like to hide stuff, in a book. So open your mind to living differently in the world. It's not that bad being alone. Grow through it. Grow through it. So, before we went into break, I told you that we were about to talk about losing total control. Yes, the truth is most of our lives are out of control. Yet somehow the majority of us live with this sort of crazy thought that we are behind the steering wheel. How many of you really feel like you are running your life? There are a lot of you that really think that. We make plans and then we feel disappointed that they don't happen. We expect things from people and they don't or can't give. No matter how hard we try, we simply can't control everything. Do y'all know, what makes God laugh is when we make plans. He laughs at us. We're like, oh, this is the plan. Well, you can have an outline. You can have a guide. But the plan is probably not going to go, to perfection because it's not your plan. We don't have control. We don't have that control. And at some point, hopefully at some point it hits us. I don't want y'all to be the person who's like in their 70s, 80s and realize that, you don't have control and you've been miserable all your life trying to reach it and get it. It doesn't work that way. A period of complete and total loss of control, like, a fast downward spiral shaped roller coaster that you can't remember ever boarding. It's scary, but it happens to all of us, and it's our choice whether we scream with terror or simply let go and appreciate the ride or both. Sometimes you just have to let go and appreciate it. Sometimes when you want to control and you want to do something, let it go. Y'all know that movie, what is that, Evan Almighty? He wanted to control everything. He wanted to become God. God said, okay, do it for the day. And when he had to control everything, he didn't want to do it. That's the last thing he wanted to do. Do you really want to control everything? Think about that. It doesn't take me that long. I don't know how long it takes you, but and if you haven't seen the movie, you should go see it because you may have a control problem. Let it go. You really don't want what you think you want. I promise. Whew. This is one of my favorites because this is one I actually had problems with. I probably still have problems with it, and I'm sure most of you have problems with it. I want you to understand that you're going to fail. You are absolutely going to fail at something, but it is a time to learn from something and learn the lesson. It's not a time to get down on yourself. It's a time to open your mind that, you know what? I failed and I'm still alive. I made it through. How many of us think you're going to fail something and it's going to be the end of the world? There's going to be lightning strikes, fire blazing, the volcano's going to erupt, we're going to have another hurricane, you're going to have a tsunami, it's all just going to go up in flames. And then the failure happens and it doesn't. And you're like, it's not that bad. You're going to have it in your business. I know a lot of you are small business owners. You're going to fail at something at some point in your life. You're going to. Those first 2 years are the hardest years. You're going to make a mistake. And if you get down on yourself every time you make a mistake, that's the failure. It's how you get back up. And we want to make sure everybody gets back up. Sadly, some people are so scared of failing that instead they choose not to try at all. But if we don't take risk, then we can never succeed. And the only true failure is not trying. People say that all the time, but it really is the truth. The only true failure is not trying. I'm not going to wait. How many times did it take Edison to make the light bulb? We talk about all these people. Steve Jobs, he got fired from his own company. Michael Jordan got cut from a team. Oprah got cut from, her radio station. Now look at where all of these people are today. Now, if they gave up on their first failure, would they have made it? Absolutely not. But you know what? God would have given that ability to somebody else and it would have been taken care of. So you don't want your blessing to pass you by. Take care of it. We talked about earlier about, from the quote. And I'm actually going to read that quote again. Life will break you. Nobody can protect you from that. And when it happens that you are broken or betrayed or left or hurt or death brushes near, let yourself sit by an apple tree and listen to the apples falling around you in heaps, wasting their sweetness. Tell yourself you tasted as many as you could. And that is a quote by Louise Edridge. Don't sit there and let the apples fall. Pick your apples. Pick your apples. You don't want to miss your opportunity. We want you to pick your apples. It's going to happen. But what are you going to do about it? You're going to get back up because that's what the good life is all about. You're going to show love, compassion, tolerance, and understanding not only to other people, but to yourself because that's honestly, in my opinion, where it's very, very important. And when you can show that to yourself, you exude that and it just starts like a wave and it ripples on other people. And especially your children, y'all. We really need to, I talk about it all the time because children are just very near and dear to my heart. I'm like, I just hear people talk to their children and by no means am I perfect. But when you start telling the children, stupid, you can't do anything, and they curse the children out. I'm like, And you're probably doing it because you heard that or you lived that life. And how did it feel for you? If you don't like it, don't repeat it. Open your mind. I'm sorry, that's just my little tidbit for that. You will suffer a crushing heartbreak. You will. You will. You will suffer a crushing heartbreak. This fear encompasses so many people that they stay in relationships that are absolutely the most awful place for them to be in. It is abusive. It is destructive. It is killing their self-esteem. They are insecure, but they just do not want to suffer the heartbreak. Well, aren't you technically living in the heartbreak? You just aren't able to start the healing process. You're already living the breakup. Just because you're physically standing next to someone doesn't mean you're still in a relationship with them. But you have that fear of that breakup. That breakup can be the best thing that ever happened to you. Because sometimes it's just not the right puzzle piece. And when we are able to be like, relationships are like puzzle pieces, and they just aren't the right piece, it's okay. Wouldn't you rather go find the right piece than be stuck with the wrong piece? You can sit there and, try to make it fit. The corners get, ragged and they start peeling back and, and then that person isn't happy and you aren't happy, but you're just so scared to break up and so scared to, i.e., be alone. We're going back into some of these. You're scared to be alone. But you already are alone in your relationship. You are. You're not there for them. They're not there for you. What are you going to do? Go through the breakup. Go through the period of loneliness. You will grow and you will be happier on the other side. It takes a heart that's been broken to experience real compassion. And although in the wake of a heartbreak, it may feel like we're standing, with no way out, we can find hope in the knowledge that someone else has stood in our exact same spot and has since moved on. Y'all know? You will live to see another day, I promise. Will it hurt? Yes. Will it feel better and be exhilarating on the other end? I promise that too. We have someone online. We have a listener online. Good morning and welcome to The Good Life with Eileen.
It's Brother Mims.
Brother Mims.
That what don't kill you will make you stronger.
Yes, exactly.
So, and you know what? Sometimes we put our faith in people more than we trust God. Some people shouldn't have we can't give them our love. You can't give your heart. Your heart, look, let me say this, sister, I'm not sugarcoating you. Your heart is so big, you can't put it in a giant's chest. You got to watch who you give your heart to and how much you love them and you do anything for them. There's a lot of shredded hearts out in here, and we got to do better. That goes for men and women.
Yes.
That's who you give your love to because they don't respect you. You have a great day.
Absolutely. Thank you, Brother Mims. Brother Mims was so on point with that. I just, mic drop moment. Mic drop moment. We give of our hearts, but give it to someone who's worthy. Give it to someone who's worthy. And if they're not reciprocating it, if they're not pouring into you and you in them, you have an unbalanced situation. Open your mind to that. And it's so much greater to go through that breakup and break that soul tie. Let it go. Let it go. You do not want to be attached to somebody who is just pouring negativity into your life for the rest of your life. Move on. I promise it is the good life. And through all of this, we have discussed, fears in life, and we just wanted to twist them. And again with that, the heartbreak moment. If they're not for you, do you really want them anyway? If you're in your teens and you're thinking about relationships, you're like, oh, I want this type of person. When you're in a relationship, if they're not that type of person, why do you want to be with them anyway? Why? Sometimes you got to put it on paper. Pros, cons. It's not working. Let it go. That person isn't for you. Sometimes they're just not for you. Let it go. And it can be absolutely the most promising time of your life on the other end of that, and you will make it through, I promise. And with all that said, I want to tell each one of you congratulations, because I know that you have gone through one of these things, and I know there are many others. There are many other fears. These are just a few of them, but I wanted to show you that you can take a fear and you can twist it and you can show how it can be a positive in your life, because a fear is only an illusion. It's really a process of growth. And if we can, embrace that growth with compassion, tolerance, and understanding for ourselves and for others, we can all live the good life. So I want to tell you congratulations. You've already faced a number of fears and you're ahead of the game. I want to give you your props. I want to let you know that it's going to be all right and we can all live the good life together. because that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. So I want to make sure that you know that we will not be here on Monday. Very sad to say. But if you follow us on Facebook, I think I'm going to pop in on there and do a little piece on, I don't know, you'll have to tune in and see. So make sure you follow us on all of our social media platforms. That's the Good Life Radio Show on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, at TGL Radio Show, at TGL Radio Show, because that is the good life. Don't let anybody throw monkey wrenches in your plans. Keep your mind focused. Keep your mind positive, because you will live the good life. And I'm out.